OffBeat Sports Podcast presented by Celsius.
It's been a tale of two seasons for the Boston Celtics.
I probably aged about 10 years just from that series.
I'd probably compare myself to just a younger, smarter, more handsome, stronger Michael Jordan.
Let's go Celtics. Go Patriots.
These are guys who, when you give them a bowl of Cheerios in the morning, they finish every last drop of milk.
Absolute clown over here.
I'm ready when you are, baby.
All right, everybody. Welcome back to the OffBeat Sports Podcast presented by... Joined by Ben Lepper. Ben is a sophomore at the College of the Holy Cross and recently announced the Patriots second-round draft pick selection of Tyquan Thornton at the 2022 NFL Draft in Las Vegas. Thanks for joining us today, Ben. We appreciate it.
Appreciate you guys having me. It's a pleasure.
Glad to have you on.
So talk to us a little about how you were selected to live out this special experience.
So I had leukemia in 2019. I was diagnosed in March, senior year of high school, and at first point, I was immediately told I needed to sign up for Make-A-Wish because I was 17 at the time. I'm 21 now, but I was 17 at the time. And they were like, you got to sign up before you turn 18. So we'll fill out all that paperwork for you and then you're good. So they did that. And then I didn't hear back for 2 years because I had to do my treatment and everything. I'm in remission now. I've been in remission for a while. But I'd say it was early last year, I started talking to them about what I wanted to do. And obviously it was coming up for COVID. So we had restrictions and everything. So we went back and forth a bit. And then I settled on the draft just because I love the draft. Like when I was in the hospital, I watched a lot of draft footage. It felt like kind of full circle. And that was like, yeah, no, I should do this. Like started with the draft, end things with the draft. I love the draft. I love prospects. I love everything about it. So what I did was I was like, can I do a first round draft pick? They're like, no, we have a Giants kid doing the first round draft pick, but we can see if we can get you to do a second round draft pick. And I was like, awesome. That's even better. Because like we never hit in the first round. So what happens after that is I wait a while. And at that point, I'm just like, well, I haven't heard back from these guys in months. Like I last spoke to them in November. It's April of 22 now. And I'm just thinking like, time to think of something else. I'm just going to ask for like, I don't know, a computer and call it a day. And then I get a call from my mom. It's like Monday at 2 p.m. And my mom's like, hey, the Patriots called. You've been on their list for a while of people they want to give a tour to, because like I believed it. Because like, they do a lot of things for people in the community who have been through. And it's like, but COVID pushed it back. They want to give you a tour. Are you free Wednesday? And I was like, I can be. So I got out of my classes.
Not going to deny that.
I was like, guys, no, I mean, the Patriots are calling. I kind of got to go do this. So I had no idea this was Make-A-Wish. I pull up to Gillette with my family. Keep in mind, my entire family knows what's going on. They've been in contact with Make-A-Wish for a while. They know exactly what's going to happen. I am just like, this is a tour. This is a normal tour. So I go up to the second floor where the offices are. I meet Donna up there. Donna's there. Community outreach person. She's great. I met her a couple times in the past when I was in the hospital. They brought Patriots players in, and I did some more stuff with them while I was sick. So I got to see Donna again for the first time in years. And then so they bring me through the offices. I'm like, this is a tour. I'm looking at the offices. It's really cool. Like it's a straight up office building inside a stadium. Like you wouldn't expect to see that there. And then they bring me into the waiting room for Kraft Entertainment or Kraft Foundation or whatever it is. And there's a guy with a camera and a guy with a boom mic. And I'm like, well, something's about to happen. Like and I'm still not thinking Make-A-Wish. I'm thinking, I knew I was going to see the trophy room. Like they told me that straight up. So but there's a camera and a boom mic. I'm like, well, maybe they're getting footage for like the Kraft Foundation or like, Patriots doing stuff in their community. I'm still clueless as to what's going on. So Kraft comes out immediately, he very much knows who I am, and that blows me away. He's got a good handshake for an 80-year-old. Really actually down to earth, super nice guy. One of the first things he tells me is that one of his biggest donations when he first started was to where I was treated, the Kraft Blood Donation Center at Dana-Farber. So immediately we're like, oh yeah, no, thank you for everything you do for, not just Patriots, but like for people like me who are struggling. So then we both open up the doors, and then it's a trophy room. So 6 trophies at the end, all the AFC trophies and whatever on the sides. Really, really cool room right there. You can find photos of it online, but those don't do it justice. It's just cool to be in that area. And yeah, the dented one that Gronk dented is in there. It's very much in there. I've heard people say like that he took that trophy himself. No, it's in there. There's one with a dent. And then
my thing about the dent is with people are like, oh, like now he should pay for a new one. I'm like, no, but that's such a much cooler story is having one with a dent in it, and the reason is because Gronk uses that baseball bat.
Yeah. No, I mean that's a one of a kind trophy. Like there's nothing like that. So what happens then is we're walking into this room, and Mr. Kraft is like, so I heard you're a big fan of the draft. And I still don't know what's going on. He's like, yeah, I love it. And he's like, this didn't make the video they posted, but he asked me who I thought they should pick. They did not listen to me because I said Devin Lloyd, and they did not pick Devin Lloyd. So
I was between Devin Lloyd and Kobe Dean. Those were my 2 picks.
We did a whole episode on that.
We did.
You guys that we came up with.
Cole Strange is working out just fine, but I wanted.
He has been good. Yeah.
I wanted him so bad. And then he pulls out the jersey, and then he's like announcing. I'm like, yeah, okay, this is Make-A-Wish. Like you can hear me in the video saying like, I was like, where's Make-A-Wish at? What's going on right now? And so I'm blown away by all this. Then the jig is up. The Make-A-Wish staff come in, the PAX reporters come in, and that's when it all started. Really, that's when it turned from just this is just a regular tour to like my life is not going to be the same after I leave this building. So they take me around the stadium now. I've got, Alexander Francisco with the Patriots. Shout out, Alex. You're the best. She's interviewing me, and obviously she's amazing. So we still talk from time to time, but she's following me around. So is the boom mic and camera now. Like now they don't even need to hide it. Mr. Kraft is gone to take care of some other business. So it's just Donna and Alex and the rest of the Patriots staff with us. And so we go out onto the field, and I was like, well, that's why they didn't bring us out first, because my name was on the Jumbotron with Make-A-Wish. I was like, well, yeah, that's obvious. So they put that up there. And then one of the Patriots PR people come running by like, hey, Ben, we got someone on the phone here who wants to talk to you. And it's Mac Jones. Mac Jones is on FaceTime. So we have a nice conversation. By coincidence, I had a Mac jersey on. So that just worked out perfectly. But like over the phone, you could tell he was like actually a really nice guy, super down to earth, genuinely interested in people. He sent a jersey my way. Awesome guy. And so that ended quickly. I was like, did that just happen? And then my dad, by the way, is blown away by this. Like, wow, Mac's a nice guy. He's not stupid. Like, yeah, we've known this. So after that, they actually bring me to the locker room. And that was the first actual staff member in the locker room since the pandemic. So that was pretty big. They showed me around there. They let me peek into the training areas, and I actually got to see the film room. I couldn't take photos of it, but the film room is really cool as well. It's like an actual movie theater, right next to the locker room, and the screen, they can draw stuff on it, and it's really impressive in there. I'm sad I couldn't take photos because it was one of my favorite parts. They could fit the whole team in that room, even though it looked kind of small. But overall, just that was it. I got sent home, and then I'm actually in this building. I'm in Stein Hall at around, I want to say 5:30 that same day. I'm in class, and then my phone starts blowing up. I'm like, they did not just post that video, did they? They posted the video. So the jig was up. My phone exploded. It did not stop exploding for months, really. And the rest is history. Then what you saw on TV happened.
That's a really cool experience.
That's really cool. So I'm kind of curious, like what was like the best part about being out in like Vegas for the draft, other than like announcing the pick? Like that's obviously huge, but like did you get like any kind of cool experience out there? Because it's not like something you do all the time.
So the coolest thing about the draft for me was not, meeting all these players or all these NFL brass or, even being in Vegas. Like that was cool. But what I found really cool was that I met somebody from every single fan base, and everybody I met was happy to be there. And they were happy that we were all there. Like, it felt like we were all fans of our own team, but we were all coming together as some kind of, larger NFL family for this. Like, you didn't see that. Like, yeah, I got heckled a bit. Of course I did. I'm a Pats fan. But, I was at this place for breakfast and I ordered this thing. And like, there's this guy, a Titans fan sitting at another table. He's like, "Hey, Mac Jones, what do you got there?" It was like, yeah, no, everyone's super chill. I was talking it up with Jets fans and Dolphins fans, even though we hate each other on the field. Like, we're all people. We're just happy to be there. And honestly, such a really cool 3 days. It only got better as it went on too. Because the first day was ridiculously busy. Obviously, it's the first day of the draft. Second day, I was nervous, and then, dealing with everything after that. But the third day was when I was like, the actual major fans stayed for the third day. And, they let us actually out into the front area because, I was a big shot at that point. So they're like, yeah, you can just go wherever you want. And I knew people with the Patriots who were there who let me in. But the third day, just meeting all those people, and I met Mr. Eagle, that guy that's got the mohawk and the.
Oh, yeah.
He was there. So I briefly met him. And just meeting all of these fans, though, was the best part, from all walks of life, from all over the country, just coming out to Las Vegas just to experience, something that we hope is going to change our team for the better. And I really like that.
So when you got to announce the Pats pick, you obviously went up to the front. Mr. Goodell went up to the podium. So what was it like to stand in front of thousands of people who were there for the draft, make that Pats selection of Thornton? Like, what was it like seeing all those people? What did it feel like?
So actually, I was not focused on the giant crowd. Keep in mind, I was nervous that entire day. I was
for sure
beyond nervous. Backstage, I was a walking mess. Like, I was literally sitting in the green room, like trembling with a bottle of water. And like, there were these guys who were like, "Hey man, you're gonna be cool and everything. You're gonna be all good. Like, don't worry about it." Like, these guys are coming in and out of the room and everything. I'm just like, this is a lot to take in. And then so actually, when the nerves stopped was when I actually spoke to the commissioner, because the commissioner, he gets a lot of hate, but he can tell when someone's nervous, and he's able to calm them down in a way I haven't seen before. Because Mr. Goodell has read out so many draft picks. So if somebody says you're going to be fine, I'm going to believe him, it's Commissioner Goodell. So he's telling me what to do. And then my nerves were calm when I was in the room with him, just figuring it out. But when they brought me the card and I saw who was on it, just seeing wide receiver was enough to be like, okay, yeah, this is good. Like, I didn't care who it was. Like, Taekwon, I knew of him. I knew he was super fast. But just that we were drafting a position of need pretty high, is like, we never do this. So that's when the nerves actually stopped. So at that point, I met up with Lawrence backstage, Lawrence Guy, and we both went out. And I didn't look out at the crowd. You may see in the video, I'm looking at it, but I was looking at a couple of different people. So all the Patriots fans in the front, because they grouped a bunch of like season ticket holders by fan base. So I was looking at the Patriot fans up in the front. And I was looking for my family, and I was looking for also Sam Prince with the Giants. Those three guys. Sam was the kid who announced the Giants first rounder. I was looking for all three of them just to be like, I did it, guys. I'm here. After all this time, I made it. So I wasn't nervous at all. If anything, I was just more excited because like now I'm actually, welcoming someone to the NFL. Like, how many people could say they've gotten to do that? It was just less nerve-wracking, but more I was in my element. I was like, this is where I feel comfortable right now. So hard to believe, but yeah.
I just thought it was funny when you said like, I'm glad I didn't do a first round pick because they always bust. Like, if you done like Nikhil Harry and then now you'd have to be like, dude, what the hell? That would suck. I don't know. I just think that's funny.
I want to start this off by saying Cole Strange has proven me wrong, and I'm so happy about it. But I was filming. I ran up to the front of my seating section, like in front of everybody, and I was filming the commissioner from that angle because I thought we were getting a stud and I wanted a good video of it. He announces Cole Strange. I yelled, "What?" out of anger and deleted the video. So I was like, man, if I announced that pick, how was I making that sound good? Like, that
would have been kind of a funny video to have if it like got posted, because like it's like you're literally right there. Like it's like the exact how everybody felt at that moment is exactly what you said. Like you
I
said,
have
like,
the video from our live
what?
when we were.
Like that's, and I can imagine it. Like, but that's like it encapsulates how probably pretty much everybody was like feeling it at the time. So if
Well,
you
I
had that,
have-
like you like right next to Goodell or whatever, you know, like that, like front row, like video, that would have been so funny.
No,
Well,
I mean,
I-
my dad was warning me about this all day because he's like, he's gonna reach for someone you've never heard of, and he's gonna turn into a stud, and that's literally what happened.
Well, I have like our raw reactions because it was me, Harry, this Ian kid. I don't know if you know him. He's a Celtics content creator, and we were all on live, and we were like, and we had saved the live afterwards because we want our reaction, and we're all like, all right, linebacker, here we go, and then they pick Cole Strange, and we're all like, what? Who the hell is that? And it was just like those reactions are so raw and they're so funny. And now that he's actually been performing well for us.
It was also when we traded down, they announced trades as they happened there. So it's like New England has traded the pick, Kansas City's on the clock. The second I heard that, I literally dented my water bottle out of anger. It was like, we're getting Devin Lloyd. It was like, oh, right.
So
Well, we like it's just we had that reaction. We originally went live for that, and then we're like, all right, looks like we have to wait. Then we waited, and then we had Cole Strange. But like I couldn't even imagine. Like I feel like my nerves would be off the chart because I know when me and Vosi at least we interviewed Chris Hogan, and that was like one of our first interviews, and we were nervous as hell. We were stuttering all over the place. I couldn't even imagine being on stage in front of all those people. And I gotta say, you hit it well. You did a fantastic job on stage. So,
Well,
but
something-
yeah.
Something a lot of people don't know about me is I used to be a theater kid. So I have experience speaking in front of groups of people. I've thankfully quit that. But, you know, the public speaking ability I kind of gained from theater has kind of moved on into now what I'm trying to pursue. So it worked out pretty well.
Yeah, well, I mean, like I usually am. I mean, Vosi, you know, I don't usually lack confidence. I'm pretty good speaking to people, and I was just like, oh my god, I was starstruck for a guy like Chris Hogan, which is he's great and he's done a lot for New England. But like, imagine if we had like Tom Brady, I wouldn't have been able to speak.
Yeah.
I would have just been like, hi.
Hi,
Yeah.
my name's Cross.
Now, okay, if we had Tom Brady now, I'd probably be like, dude, what is going on? Like, now I'd probably be like chill about it because I'm not like 17, but yeah. So my next question for you here. So as many who followed your story over the last couple of years know you're diagnosed with lymphoblastic leukemia prior to graduating high school. So you had a long kind of road to remission, which you're in now and you've been in for some time. How impactful was like the Pats organization with the whole thing and their players and like that whole draft experience, going through like that challenging stage of your life? Like, did it really like, I'm assuming it probably helped a lot with like your, like just your uplift on everything.
Football as a whole helped, but especially, you know, the Patriots organization was there for me in a way that nobody else could have been. Like I was lucky, well, not lucky enough, but I was in the hospital in the off season. So these guys had a lot of time to come by. So often at Boston Children's, what you'll see is people of these major sports teams and celebrities coming through and visiting the patients. The thing about the 6th floor, the cancer ward, is that they will come directly up there and hang out in the common rooms and you'll get to meet them. So like I said, you know, football in general helped me so much, like watching games and draft analysis and all of that. The AAF was a thing at the time, Alliance of American Football, that still existed. So I was watching that too. But my first experience with the Patriots organization was actually Joe Andruzzi, a former offensive lineman. He's got 3 rings.
You say Joe and Jersey?
What?
You say Joe and
Joe
Jersey?
Andruzzi, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So he wasn't with the team at that time. It was actually coordinated by my mom who knew somebody. But Andruzzi came to my room, and that was my first experience of like, you know, having Super Bowl rings in my hands and people from sports giving back. And that opened my eyes to what they're capable of. So the next time I met a Patriot was June, July. I was in the hospital a lot that 2 months. And Joe Tooney visited. So I was actually getting discharged that same day that Tooney was visiting. And I was like, I'm not leaving the hospital. I got to go meet Joe. So I got to meet Joe. Super nice guy.
I can't believe I haven't heard his name in a while.
But Joe, super cool guy. And that was my first, actual on the roster Patriot encounter. And then the next week I was back in the hospital and I was not doing well. I was actually shoved out of the 6th floor because there was no room. So I was on the 10th floor. I was feeling ill all the time, nauseous. I couldn't keep food down. I was living off of like strawberry banana smoothies. And I had it with everything. And then I get a knock on my door. And it's the child life specialist. Her name's Annika. And Annika comes in and she's like, hey, Ben, I got a friend here. She just wants to see what your room's like on the 10th. We don't have any room. We want to make sure, people are okay with being on the 10th. I was like, yeah, okay. Now, at the time, I was like, what the hell am I thinking? They are not bringing a patient into my room right now. Like, this is like against all sort of HIPAA violations and all that. So I'm just like, but I'm not thinking clearly because I'm just like, man, my life sucks. I suck. I hate it. And Julian Edelman walks into the room. And at that point, I'm just like, oh my God, it's him. Because at the time, Julian Edelman is my all-time favorite New England Patriot. And that blew me away. How the Patriots organization and players were willing to not just go to the 6th floor, but like go see a fan who they knew was having a really rough time. And Edelman, my experience with him was phenomenal. I'm super happy for him, how he finished his career here, how he's now doing really well for himself. And he's such a great guy in person. He gave me a copy of his book. I read it. I really enjoyed it. I have a snapback given to me by him. He gave me a shirt. He just wants to see people do well. And so after that, luckily I wasn't in the hospital much more. I did end up in the hospital in like October, and I had a couple of other guys come through. If you guys remember them, Shalik Calhoun, Ryan Izzo, Chase Winovich as well.
I love that guy.
Winovich I had a great conversation with him. He was in my room for like 10 minutes. Like, that is unheard of. We were having a great talk.
That dude's the man. I was so mad when they got rid of him. I was actually like really upset.
So the last real major experience I had with the Patriots prior to the end of my treatment was in August. We got an email from the Patriots organization like, we heard you had a really good experience with Julian. We'd love to invite you to the stadium for our Patriots premiere event in September. I was like, okay, great, let's do it. So the Patriots premiere is their like big gala at the beginning of the year. They invite all their top donors and the team comes out and signs autographs. It's like there's a cocktail hour on the field and then like a plated dinner, and it's impressive. They turn the field into a ballroom. It's outstanding what they do with that. And I was part of the Boston Children's Hospital table delegation. There was me and there was one other girl. And we had both had good experiences with the team. So they invited both of us. They also coincidentally invited my doctor, who was seeing me at the time that Edelman visited. So Dr. Schulman was there. And so what happens then is, I'm getting these autographs from players, and the Patriots staff are just bringing people over, and I'm just like, oh my God, everything's going on right now. Chase Winovich comes over. N'Keal Harry, I met him. I told him I needed him to go do well for my fantasy team. Did not happen. I met JC Jackson and Keon Crossan, and I'm super embarrassed to say that he introduced himself as JC and introduced Keon as Casey. I was like, oh, you guys are brothers. And I was like, why did I say that? And then I also met, no Brady. Brady was there, but I did not meet Brady. I saw the late Demaryius Thomas from a distance. I did not meet him. I met Tooney again. I met all these players. Troy Brown came over and hung out with my dad for a long time, and my dad was going crazy because he loves Troy Brown. And the Patriots chef actually came out and gave me the 3 new Super Bowl rings to wear. So I've worn all 6 rings. And so after that, they bring us to the plated dinner. We were seated at a table with the other Children's Hospital family, as well as an offensive lineman named Tyree St. Louis. He's been bouncing around practice squads recently, but super nice guy. And they're doing these presentations on stage. And at this whole time, I'm just like, man, I feel like garbage. I really wish I was feeling better to just experience, that whole thing the way it should have been experienced. But, they're going through all these encounters, like they give Kyle Van Noy some kind of award, Matt Slater talks, Coach Belichick talks. And then they whisk at me and this girl up on stage. And so we're sitting up there and they're like, these are some of the people the Patriots organization has helped, blah, blah, blah. And at this whole time, Edelman has seen me and he's giving me finger guns the whole time. I'm like, what's going on? And and then I'm looking across, like Robert Kraft has got like 3 guys whispering to him at once. Tom Brady's just looking off into the distance. It's just like, these guys are all right here. And it's a lot to take in. So after I got off stage, I felt like garbage and had to go home. But before I went home, Josh McDaniels came sprinting across the field to say hi. So I have a soft spot for Josh McDaniels because not only was he super nice to me and my family, but he also told me to not start N'Keal Harry fantasy. So, yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah,
There's
Oh,
no
boy.
way he said that.
I think they knew.
There's no way he said that.
was it with me and the Patriots for a while, up until, of course, the draft and everything.
Hold on. There's no way he said that to you.
He literally said, I wouldn't start N'Keal in fantasy. He's hurt.
Brutal.
Calling the
Dude,
plays.
if Josh McDaniels had run up to me, I would have been like, please stay. I would have like, never, I don't want to, I was like, I don't care. Just don't leave.
So Josh, who should I start? All right, you got to throw to this guy. Oh, we. So, I mean, throughout this whole experience, I just saw from your Instagram, you met people like Roger Goodell, Tony Gonzalez, Cam Jordan, Eric Armstead, Santana Moss, Carly Lloyd, Travis Kelce, Ryan Clark, and all the current and former Patriots you met, like Lawrence Guy, Mac Jones, Tyquan Thornton, all those people. Who would you say was your favorite and why?
Favorite. Are we just talking from recent memory?
Yeah. We'll say from like the whole draft experience. Okay. Who was your favorite?
Let me think. So Ryan Clark, I met him while we were on an ESPN set, just watching how they do work. Me and Sam Prince were both there, and they were on a commercial break for a while. And Ryan Clark was legitimately talking to us about how he felt about the prospects and everything, and who we thought was going off the board early. And he was like, no, Stingley's not going out of the top 10. And he was actually surprisingly really chill. And so actually I only met Travis Kelce because Ryan Clark went over to him like, hey, we got some wish kids here. You should probably go say hi to them. Like, I'm sure Kelce would have figured it out by himself, but like Clark was like, I want to give these guys the best experience that they possibly can. So I'd say Ryan Clark is definitely one of them. And then the other one is Santana Moss. So Santana Moss, remember that whole thing I was saying? I was in a green room with a water bottle just trembling. So he had just done a draft pick, and he came into the room and he came up to me like, "Hey man, I'm Santana. Great to meet you." And I'm like, "What's up, Santana? I'm Ben." And he's like, "What are you nervous about?" I'm like, "I'm making a pick." And he's like, "Oh, don't be nervous about it, man. Like, look at the name I just did." And he shows me his name. It's Fedarian Mathis. And I'm like, "Well, I'm fine. If he managed to do that, fine. I'm fine." But Santana was really, really cool to me as well. So I'd say Ryan Clark, Santana Moss. Obviously, everybody that I met was really cool, but those two especially stood out.
Yeah. Very cool.
So this past summer, you attended Patriots training camp, and you got to meet guys like Mac Jones and the guy that you announced at the NFL draft, Tyquan Thornton. So what was that experience like getting to meet, especially Thornton having announced his pick, and as well as Mac in person? And how would you describe what they're like to the general audience and to people that haven't met them before?
Yeah. So they sprung that on me as well. I actually got the training camp VIP tickets from Dana-Farber, who they just have donors giving stuff out all the time. And they were like, "We know you like the Patriots. You can have these." So I went into training camp and I had a great time. Coincidentally, was sat next to Scott Zolak and his son. So there was that.
That's kind of cool.
No, yeah, his son too. His son's a nice kid. His son is a quarterback.
Plays football, right? Doesn't he play at
football the
King
whole
Phillip,
time.
right?
So what happens after that is once again, shout out Alexander Francisco at the Patriots. We were talking that whole morning, and I told her, like, Alex, I'm going to be at camp today. And she's like, oh, cool. If you want to hang around after we're done practice portion, I'm going to introduce you to some Pat's beats writers. And I was like, yeah. No, she knows I want to get in the media and everything. Like, we talked about that before. She's like, you have anything you need, you hit me up. And I was like, I would love to meet some of these guys. Like, I met Mike Reese coincidentally there as well. So what I didn't expect was to meet any players outside of, people running and signing autographs. Like, there were players who just come by to that section and they sign autographs. Damian Harris was over there. Kendrick Bourne, Matt Judon, Hunter Henry all came over at points. All four of them are great guys. But where they really caught me off guard was when I saw a 6'3", 185 lanky looking guy walking right over with me with Alex. I'm like, oh God, they're really doing this right now. And then the phones come out. I'm like, all right, they've been planning this all day, haven't they? So it is Taekwon, of course. And we immediately know who each other are. And it's like, oh, wow, this is happening. And I can tell you right now, Taekwon, he's a great guy. I'm not just saying that because, I'm probably his biggest fan in the world. But you can tell he's down to earth. He's humble. He's happy to be here. He wants to improve his game just that much. And he told me he was grateful for me in a way, because I was like, thank you for, technically making my dream come true, man. And I was like, yeah, you're welcome. And I was stuttering the whole time, man. I was stuttering because that was a complete shock to me. I was like, man, you're fast. He was like, yeah, I've been told that. Really, really good guy. And I wish nothing but the best for him in his career. And then they bring me actually out on the field to meet Mac, which also was a surprise. And, Mac also, even better in person, he was genuinely asking like how my summer was going, how my life was going. He was like, he wanted me to know that I was doing well. And I was like, yeah, man, it's great. It's like, great things ahead for you, man. I can tell. And I was like, thank you. You too. So Mac, super good guy. And then they also brought back Lawrence Guy for a quick reunion, who was wearing sweatpants actually during a 90-degree day at Foxborough. I was like, Lawrence, what's up with sweatpants? Like, I'm 33. Like, let me do this. So yeah, well, all three of those guys, I can tell you for sure, not every NFL player has been down to earth that I've met. Like, I met some people at the draft. I don't want to name names, but there was one guy who you could tell he had an ego. But these guys on the Patriots team that I've met, they were all super down to earth, humble, happy to be there, happy that we were supporting them.
So you mentioned Taekwon Thornton. You wish the best for him. He just had a great game last week, coming back from that injury. How do we feel about it?
Feeling great, actually. I was worried about his injury concerns. He's a really thin guy, really skinny. Like, you could tell in person, like he looks like a track star. But the man can ball out if he's healthy and he's strong enough. And I think we started to see his potential. Like, let's just remember too, he had a relatively low yard count, receiving count. He didn't get the ball too many times. They're still testing him out.
Yeah.
But what he did when he got the ball, he's going to get so many more receptions in the future, especially with Mac back. And I think now with the Aguilar trade rumors starting, they're starting to realize that Taekwon is Aguilar, just better. So I no disrespect to Nelson Aguilar whatsoever, but I think Taekwon's going to be with this team for a while. I think it's going to be good for them.
So just some quick questions to wrap it up. Some current Patriots questions. The biggest story right now is the quarterback situation. So who do you think's the starter? Who do you think should be the starter, Mac or Zappe?
Can I just assume something based on how much you've talked about Mac, that your answer's probably gonna be Mac Jones? Because after everything, I'm gonna guess that it's Mac.
The correct answer is Mac Jones. I think everybody out there is going to agree. Mac Jones would have thrived in those two games as well. Bailey Zappe has the skill to be a starting quarterback in the league. But I think what we saw from Mac last year, with him getting used to the offense over time, it's only going to get better for him. I would say throw Mac back out there when he's healthy. I don't think it's a debate. And if he struggles, then put Zappe in. You have good quarterbacks all around the roster. I think you can't lose either way, but I think Mac should be the starter.
Yeah, and I agree. Honestly, my thing is, I think, honestly, Mac, the reason he wasn't playing as well is because they really extended the playbook for him. So I think honestly, simplify it. It works, simplified. Go back to more of the simple stuff that they were doing with Zappy with Mac. Extend it a little bit, maybe a little more deeper throws, just because you're obviously working with a more mature guy and maybe a little more talented. So that's why I'm sticking with Mac, but I think you definitely want to reel him in a little bit, kind of cut down those turnovers.
If I jump in again real quick, what do you think he's been doing while sidelined with the injury? He's been studying the playbook. I think he's going to come back and he's going to look a little better.
I think at the end of
Me
camp,
too.
it was kind of like a telltale that he was kind of like upset with the way the play calling was going and stuff. But I think like Mac Jones hasn't done anything to lose the job. It's just more that Zappy's done a lot to make a case for it. So that's why I wouldn't take out Mac, because he hasn't done anything to lose it. It's just that Zappy's been playing really well.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
You can go, Bosie.
oh wait, no, you can go. It's okay.
You can go. All right. So we're 6 games into the season for the Patriots. We're 3-3 so far. So by the end of the season, what's your prediction for our final season record? And do you think we'll qualify for the playoffs?
I need to look at the schedule. Hold on.
We got Chicago next week.
We're going to win that game. Put that on the record. Take Pat's money line on that game. I think I've seen a lot of Jets fans saying, "Oh, we're going to sweep you this year." No, the Jets are the Jets. All right,
So we got the Jets. We got the Bears, then we get the Jets. We got the Jets twice in 3 weeks, and we have the Colts. I think those are all winnable games.
4-3, 5-3. Colts will win 6-3, 7-3. I think we might lose to Minnesota. 7-4.
Yeah, that's a tough game.
7-5, 8-5, 9-5.
Do you think we'll beat the Cardinals?
I think we'll beat the Cardinals.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think we should beat the Raiders.
10-7, 11-6 is our ceiling right now. I'd say a 4-7 wins. And I'm going to say, man, I don't know about that playoff question, because I was saying we're out of the playoffs at the beginning of the year. But Denver sucks. The Raiders suck. The Colts suck. I think there's a chance we could have an outside shot at the wild card spot right now.
Honestly, yeah, we could slip in if we get up to like 10 wins, we could slip into the playoffs.
Well, the AFC is shockingly weak right now. So
Yeah, I agree.
We win some of those toss-up games for sure. Like if we can beat teams like the Vikings, the Bengals that have been kind of up and down this season, I think we'd have a shot.
I think the Vikings have the second best team in the NFC though. So that's probably
Yeah. So my thing is, if we win the next 4 games, we're sitting at 7 wins. If we can beat the Cardinals and the Raiders, we're sitting at 9, which I think we should win both those games. Then if we win one of the toss-up games, like such as the Bengals or the Vikings, then we're all set. Or even Miami. We should beat Miami. I think we should beat Miami.
We're going to beat Miami at home. We only lose them once a year.
Yeah. Bosie.
Well, you mentioned this earlier and you said it, but I still am kind of curious if it's different than I think. Who's your favorite Pats player of all time?
Julian Edelman.
Okay, see, that's what I thought you were going to say, because you said it earlier and I was like, okay.
Just wanted
My
to make
lucky
sure.
number is 11 too.
Hey, that works. Right?
Yeah, I wears that now. Like, hello.
So that's just all we got for you. Appreciate you coming on. This is awesome.
Really
So
thank you so much.
yeah, no problem. So
Yeah,
thanks
no
everyone for watching and listening. Be sure to check us out on Instagram at @offbeat_sports and on TikTok at offbeat sports, and make sure you're on the lookout for the next episode of Offbeat Sports. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you
You
next
should
time.
announce more picks. They've been going well so far.
Call them all Texas.